What is going on, All Terrain Nation? Tonight on the show, we got a special show, Kelly. Something you have yet to get to see, but we're going to talk the new 2025 Toyota 4Runner, and it's been 15 years in the making. The last time we reviewed one of these things was 2022. It was that beautiful lime green.
Yep.
And the tech in that thing was awful.
It was definitely not 2022 inside.
Right. And at the time of that, we were hearing rumors that Toyota was just done with 4Runner. They were just like, yeah, we're going to move on to something else. And you guys kept buying these things. And I mean, like buying them by 200,000 a year sales till now, which is freaking ridiculous that they would sell that many of a 15-year-old vehicle. You know, Nissan, when Nissan Xterra, they killed it off in 15. Of course, the FJ Cruiser died in 14, but the sales were like 14,000 maybe a month. Not the numbers that would get you to 200,000. And this little thing just kept trucking. It has such a loyal audience. And I'm kind of curious, what you've liked Toyota products in the past. When we've done test drove Toyota products, you've really liked them. What is it about Toyota that kind of sells you?
I think their off-road system is done really well. The TRD Pro, the whole product or the whole line of it. We've tested it in Tacoma, we've tested it in Tundra, we've tested it in Sequoia, and it never ceases to amaze me when you're taking it off the trail or taking it on the trails. So that's really what sells me on the Toyota side. And they're actually willing to get adventurous in their colors a little bit.
Yes, which is a big thing, because usually the Japanese brand companies are very conservative. They don't get too flashy with their colors, and Toyota really does seem to take some risks and do that. And the lime green that they did, the only funny thing about it was, of course, the Tacoma that we test drove was lime green, and the 4Runner we did was lime green, but they were different colors of lime green because the at the time they were built in Texas, the Tacoma was. That lime green and the Japanese lime green were just slightly different, but still great colors. And of course, the solar octane, which we've loved. If my dream version of the Sequoia TRD Pro would be that solar octane,
100%.
And you don't like flashy colors.
I don't, and I've said this when we did the review on it. I don't like flashy colors, but that would definitely be in my driveway.
Yeah. So the last time we got to mess with Toyota product was last fall. We got to test drive the what was it?
Tundra.
The Tundra TRD Pro. And you were with some Toyota engineers, and they really walked you through this. And if you don't know, like we like to do a lot of off-roading. Kelly drives more than I do anymore, because I usually do a lot of the filming and stuff like that. And I'm impressed that the way you've learned and adapted over the past 12 years to become a really good driver. And so it was interesting to me when you got to you do some time. We were in Texas at their training grounds, and you got to do some time in their trucks, and they walked you through all the steps of it, like the one pedal drive and all that.
Yeah. And if you have control issues, this vehicle will definitely do its best to bust that on you, because that one pedal drive, or even just the cruise control on it, that trail cruise control on it, I can't remember what they call it, but that honestly, when you're, it's not decelerating. What is it? It's
like cruising up the hill.
No, when you're going down the hill.
Yeah, decelerate. Like you're just.
Yeah, I guess it is decelerate. So when you are decelerating, where you're definitely feeling like, oh, I need to put my foot on the brake, but you don't. The vehicle actually does it. And this one obstacle that we did, it actually took us down. It actually puts you in water, and it still takes you slowly through it. So it's definitely an amazing product. And yes, those that are commenting in there and says, will you show the review live? Absolutely.
Yes,
once it comes up.
I'll be honest, Toyota's back in on this is pretty bad right now. We've been waiting for some updates from them, and what they just wait till the last minute, just like you would expect. But yes, we're trying to wait and see what Toyota actually does itself. If you've seen today, we definitely had video. We were the only channel for a while that had anything up. Forbes magazine's writer accidentally crossed his T and dotted his I wrong, because he put AM instead of PM.
Oh, was that what happened?
That was the issue with that.
Ow.
And their impressions of it and their press release of it got released a little bit early. And we'll definitely talk over some of that here in just a few minutes, because that stuff happens. Trust me, when we go to any press events, we're very careful. Like I will tell Kelly to look over 4 times. Like, are we sure? Because these companies have a real problem with doing, what is it? The PST, like, what is it? The standard time they like to use?
Yeah. So they do daylight time. They do They do daylight savings time. They do everything else, but actually talk about which time you really want to be using it with. So there's a lot of calculating that has to be done with it.
Yes. And it is a nightmare. And I can see how this would happen. And I know they've taken a lot of grief about it, but this stuff happens, trust me. And a lot of these, especially the bigger media companies now, they're one people crews out there trying to do all this themselves because they have no support anymore. The magazines are dead. Even Forbes, you think of Forbes as a big money magazine, they have nobody there anymore. So, you know, a lot of times it's somebody they've hired from college, never met them.
Yeah.
Hey, just go do it. And don't F it up. Basically is what they're doing here. So let's see, Kelly, it is 9:15. Let's see, is Toyota actually going to do something? Like I said, we're following their back channels on this stuff and trying to figure out, because I will show you their press release of this thing was just awful.
Yeah.
It's just awful. And I'll bring it up and show you guys right now.
And it's not there yet.
No, it's not there yet. Let me show you guys. This is what we have to deal with sometimes, which is this little paragraph that says, hey, April 9th at 7:15 Pacific. We're doing something. And of course we're there now. And of course, sometimes this does take a minute to update. So I won't give them too much.
So we are still looking for it. Just don't think we're doing nothing here in the background, because we definitely are still looking for it for you so we can launch it.
Yes. But as far as their off-road settings and stuff, you know, Toyota's gone away from front rear lockers. They don't want that. They'll offer a rear locker, but they walked you really through their crawl control features. And how do you like that? Because you've learned in a very basic manual transfer case, you push the button, it engages 4-wheel drive, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You had a rear locker in your Nissan Xterra that you used to have. Past that, we didn't have any crawl control features. How are you with
absolutely not. You know, going from the basics to going to that all in, helping you do all the things, it definitely takes the adjustments of actually doing that, because if you are used to doing all the things yourself, like I mentioned before, it really challenges your control issues when it comes to it, because you've gotten so used to doing your own thing and knowing. Somebody said it is Instagram.
Okay. We'll pull it up there. Yeah,
so he's pulling it up right now for us.
Yes, and it is a trip when you've got to deal with yes, like I have control issues. So let's see. Wow.
Is that all we're gonna get?
This is hilarious.
There's no like press release?
Well, it'll pop up. But this is what I'm seeing from Instagram right now.
But it changes how you're driving this vehicle for sure.
Yeah, and I'm an old school guy. I don't like computers trying to tell me what to do. So
100%.
Yeah. So here's what Instagram's got so far. I know our buddies over at TRD John and them are at the event right now. And let's go back to their newsroom and see if they've actually updated their newsroom, which they have not. So I'm going to go over to what I'm going to do right now is 4Runner 6G has some stuff up right now that we can talk about till Toyota gets their stuff together. So let's do this. Let's go to news. And they actually have some in-person photos that somehow sneakily got out about one, and I've resisted showing some of this stuff, and I was very careful. And you guys may go, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters to us because I was very careful to only show what 4Runner 6G had, because you can kind of get disemboweled by these people. So definitely here, we'll definitely take a look at this. This is the definitely TRD Pro, Kelly. And this is the first time you're getting to see this vehicle.
It is.
The front end of this thing. What are your impressions of this vehicle? We've seen the truck.
Yep.
We've done walk-arounds. I did the Trail Hunter edition. I like that quite a bit. What is your first impressions of this?
If you didn't tell me this was the 4Runner, I would think it was the Tacoma, to be honest, because it looks a lot like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when you first pulled this up, I was like, oh, it's kind of Tacoma-esque.
Yeah.
So
which I
like the Tacoma.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
But the 4Runner for a long time, I know early on, I've seen some of the comments today, people were going, because I made a funny comment, a sarcastic comment about it's just a truck with a roof on it. And they're like, no shit. Well, yeah, it was in jest that I said that, but 4Runner for a long time has had its own personality away from, Tacoma a little bit. And now it seems to be like, I don't know if it's a money issue, because these are multi-billion dollars to develop now. So I don't know if it's like, hey, we got to cut costs somewhere. Let's just kind of like, it's still built on the same platform. All the underpinnings and everything are still the same, but maybe it's just, just cheapness. What would you say about that?
Um, you know, we all know that manufacturing it costs money to make big changes. So really that's where I think we're landing on this, is that they're really looking for ways to how can we be more efficient. And let's be honest, we know that Toyota is doing its best to be efficient in the product that they're putting out. So, and think about that, is that it tends to help you get better products out there too, because they're able to continue to develop and everything else that comes along with it. So that's kind of where I feel like on that one.
Yeah, I've we got a side profile up here right now. I think it looks good. There's a couple things that stand out to me, and I pointed this out early in the video that I did, was how the side glass, I'm trying to find it back for you so we can bring this back up. So the side glass, Kelly, is a very throwback to the early generation of this. It kind of wraps over the roof just a little bit. I like that the thought of the 80s kind of bring back that vibe a little bit, but these vehicles, something about Toyota's new generation of all their trucks from Tundra on down, they're so rectangly, they're very square. There's a lot of sharp edges in the interiors, and it just feels like that was sort of an afterthought of like, oh, heritage vehicles right now are fun. Where can we slap some heritage to this? Oh, in the back glass, we'll just throw some heritage.
Yeah, we got to cut that in there so we can get all the loyalists to make sure that they're including.
So I'm gonna go through some of y'all's questions while Kelly's scanning their site trying to get this stuff up. And of course, I know some other outlets that are out there right now. Our buddies with Pickup Truck Plus SUVs out there, and I think he's going to do a walk around here in a little bit. But it says, look at the rear door, it looks tiny. I think part of that problem is this black trim just makes this door look tiny. And the Xterra, Nissan had a problem with that because they need this big door, Kelly. And remember how tiny the rear access to it was? It was.
And if you were an adult trying to get in the back seat, there was definitely that adjustment of going like, ooh, how do I get up in there?
Yeah. Yeah. It was easy for our daughter, though.
For sure.
And it's something that Toyota has, I think previously it's been pretty easy to get in and out of this thing. Now, another comment that I have seen quite a bit was, look how long the hood is. And that's been my one complaint to the Tacoma was, it looks so stretched out. And part of the problem with that is they need cooling. These things are turbocharged engines now. You need a lot of cooling area. You've got, a couple coolers out there. You got your intercooler, you got your radiator. There's just so much out there that it just kind of, we got to stretch this a little bit. And do you see like it I don't know, it's kind of like a long nose on this thing.
Yeah, it does. It looks a bit longer than I would have anticipated being, but again, it really screams the Tacoma to me on that side when you look at it, because it really does look like, hey, we have this Tacoma front end and then we had to make it an SUV.
Yes, exactly. We'll pull some more pictures up here that they have up here. Interesting new colors. We talked about it early on. Definitely Toyota takes some risks with some colors. This is kind of an aqua green. I forget what they call the official color to this thing. Thoughts on this?
I don't know. It looks very, for any ladies that might be listening, it feels very 90s nail polish to me.
Okay.
Is really kind of what it feels like. It's really not
it's almost like a couch color you would see in
the 90s.
It is,
or carpet that you would have seen in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, definitely. But I like it. I don't dislike it. I've seen a lot, worse colors on this thing. Now one of the blues here, definitely Toyota's done this with, Bronco came out with some heritage. What's the gray, the bluish gray?
I can't remember
the color I wanted, and you didn't like it. Oh God, I can't think of it. But it was a throwback color to this, and Toyota's sort of done this. Definitely, this blue has some different vibes.
When you first pulled up the picture, I went, yeah. And then it's kind of growing on me. Yeah. The blue is kind of growing on me.
This is looks to be a limited trim. And one thing that everybody's going to bitch about is the chin spoiler down there.
Oh, 100%. Because that's gonna ruin your approach angle.
Well, this looks to be a limited. So they're not, the person buying this is just wants a kind of mid-sized, nice, SUV. And of course you can see the grill of it. It's a little fancier. Definitely painted mirror caps on this. The wheels, the tires, tires are street tires. Like, it's funny they have it. And this is at the press event out there, because that's where they'll be doing some staging. But it's funny they have these street tires on this thing. And it was like when they did we were at the Chicago Auto Show, and that was when we got to see the new Land Cruiser.
Mhm.
And it was amazing to me that the street tires they had on this thing. And
In the auto show.
yeah, and you think of Land Cruiser and 4Runner, you think of, I want some more aggressive looking vehicle, maybe especially in an auto show. You do expect to see like something that challenges you, like, oh, that's aggressive. That looks cool. Ultimately, there is a buyer for this, though.
For sure.
100% there's a buyer for this. So he says yes, the blue is a limited.
And the color you wanted was Mud Path.
Well, the tan, that's what they're calling the tan version that they have, which is, you can see it in the below
Which
here.
you would totally
This one
have
here.
that.
Yes, I like that color quite a bit. Definitely gives you that kind of military vibes a little bit. Something that was interesting to me from all of this was that we're going to get 2 engine options. Now, I've done a couple videos recently where I said I think they might only do 1 engine option, because it's already a head scratcher when they brought the Land Cruiser out, which is on the same basic platform as this. You're getting the iForce Max engine, I believe it's the 2.4 with the the hybrid system in that. Get ridiculous amount of torque. I think it's like 444 foot-pounds of torque, 326 horsepower. We've drove hybrids and understand, like, I think Toyota's nailed how you do a modern vehicle now. I mean, obviously turbo, we know you got to lose cylinders because of emissions. That's the easiest way to reduce your carbon, is reduce cylinders. And that's why I know there was a lot of heat about what V6, no way, I'm not buying it. I hate to say we live in a world where the big engines are gone. I can't believe Ford with the Bronco still has a V6 in it, to be honest. I can understand for their Raptor.
Yep.
But engine options, for one, that cost the company money. They're having to build 2 different things. So I really thought, okay, they'll take the 4Runner and make it the entry level, kind of maybe taking it down a few steps. Still, it's going to be a badass 4Runner. It's going to give us some cool options, but maybe use the Land Cruiser as the next step up if you want the nicer version of that. And they've seemed to kind of kept the waters a little muddy, as this mud path color would suggest, because we haven't seen the final prices on TRD Pro for the Tacoma, which they're actually getting to drive those this week. That's part of this press event, was they got to drive that. Part of the problem, what's up, Sarah Davis? Part of the problem with the pricing structure of the trucks that we don't know yet is, I think the Overland edition, the
Trail
Hunter, I think that's $65,000. And we haven't,
which would be in line with what's out there on the market.
I mean, if you look at, Wranglers are expensive now. Definitely, Broncos are getting expensive. So yes, but those vehicles do something different than what this does. Yeah, I mean, you can look at the idea of having a battery pack on this for camping. 100%. I think that would be amazing to have that on here. But past that, I mean, the door, I don't need the doors to come off on a vehicle like this, but I just feel like for the price, you're kind of losing something a little bit, right?
Yeah, you definitely are. And I will say there's a couple articles that have been released since the time that kind of talks about some of the specs and things, depending upon what you want to kind of cover there from that perspective.
Okay. I'm looking for the there it is. They've done some sneaky stuff. They've pulled some of this. I have a feeling Toyota's gotten into their ass a little bit about some of this stuff. So I'm trying to do like 16 different things here at once. But Trail Hunter, I like the fact that Toyota's the only company really going out of their way to offer kind of aftermarket parts. You can buy them from the factory. I know some companies like Nissan and them have really been like, oh no, we're going to do factory lifts and all this stuff. Well, for one, if it comes from the factory, it's not lifted. It's just how it comes. 2, they never had the balls to actually do any of that stuff. They made dealers do add-ons, where Toyota's, you order this truck. Of course, Toyota's ordering system's a little wacky, but you order it and this is what you get, is what you're paying for from the factory. So Trail Hunter on 4Runner now, the waters are really muddy, because can you imagine $65,000 for a 4Runner? Because we were looking, you remember when we were looking at the TRD Pros when we got our first hand look at those, there was 72,000, I think, something like that, 74. And that's a big SUV. Now people will say, well, you can't do what you can do with the 4Runner. 100% agree about that. But if you look at the value you're getting for a few more extra $1,000, you're getting a better vehicle, in my opinion. You're getting a bigger engine, lots more room. Still looks, the interior of this thing still looks the same. So I'm curious to what the price of this thing is going to be. And one of the other things I've seen people bitching about, which is justified, manual transmission. Now, I will say this from the get-go, they don't do a manual transmission in anything iForce Max. So if you want, I want the Trailhunter edition and I want a manual transmission, good luck. I hate to say that. It's just not going to happen. I wish it would, but unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. And but I would like to see them offer it in the just the normal 2.4 turbo. You're not big with manual transmission. Do you the take rate of these? You know, it's like 5%. I mean, do you think people would be interested in that?
I think it'll be a small market of folks that are interested in that. I mean, we've seen that in other models where, yes, people do want the manual transmission, those that still want to really control their vehicles.
Yeah.
But there's still, I will say, a big portion of folks that just want that automatic, especially if you're going to take it off road. I would never, ever personally want to wheel a manual transmission.
The older I get, and I know it sounds like a grumpy bear, the older I get, yes, the less I actually want to wheel. We used to have a Wrangler that we would wheel, or I would wheel manual transmission. And by the end of the day, I was just beat up.
Yeah.
And I go to the woods because I want to enjoy nature or just kind of challenge myself.
Just kind of chill out.
Yeah. I don't want to challenge my right leg to a lift competition. Back to Toyota's Instagram. Of course, our buddy TRD John, I'm gonna like that because he's out there.
There's 3 pictures of this,
that's what I was about to go through. So the pro version, I will say I am a little surprised they did a pro version. Of course, this thing looks kick-ass. Like obviously great photos are going to do that as well. Looks like you're going to get full skid plates under it, which is nice. The light bar, which is common, they just do that stuff anyways. The headlights definitely are Tacoma style. I know Tacoma has a little bit of a blacked out area down here. The grill, I would have liked to seen this grill just slightly bigger.
Yeah.
The previous one just had a big opening, and I don't know, it was very powerful looking. This one, not so much. It looks like it's got more of an underbite-ish kind of to it.
Yeah, it definitely does when you mention it, and an underbite is a good way of putting that for sure.
Approach and departure angles on this thing, it actually is a little less than what it was previously. Some of that has to do with, sadly, modern crash testing, aerodynamics. They're trying to squeeze out anything they can out of this thing. And that's going to be, this is a big brick on wheels. So it's got that big opening now for all the cooling it needs to. So that doesn't help, even though they're going to smaller displacement engines. I still looked for it to get, 18 to 24 somewhere in there is what I kind of look for it to get, which doesn't seem great when maybe your second car is a Tesla. But for what this is, especially the off-road version of this thing, or maybe it's a Prius, I don't know. But for what this thing is, that's definitely, I think, an improvement. People are just, though, pissed off about the engine.
Yeah.
That was the number one I got like 300 or 400 comments today on our reveal video of this thing. That was the number one thing people were upset about. And if you were upset about that, let me know in the comments, because I'm curious. And trust me, Toyota, they watch all these, they watch all this stuff. They screen capture comments. They're very curious about what people think is going on. So
says Toyota released a video on YouTube.
All right, about to jump to that. Change this out. Kelly, would you like one of these in the driveway?
I'll have to see it more to make that final decision.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, I liked the former gen, but it was definitely dated for me. So I'll have to wait till I see in person inside to see what updates were made, and also to see the capability. That's really the thing for me is to see if the capability lives up to the hype.
Well, let's definitely. I'm gonna pull this up here, and we'll check out some capability together, because this is on their website right now. So we'll play it and see what.
4Runner is among the most iconic vehicles in Toyota's lineup. This legendary nameplate has sold over 4 million units since it debuted in 1984 and redefined the adventure SUV, all while establishing a fiercely loyal following, especially in the off-road community, where it's become a standout for blazing trails to incredible destinations. For 2025, 4Runner has been redesigned from the ground up and is ready to take on the next epic adventure. 4Runner's rugged athleticism, which is evident in its high lift, lean body, and big tires, has been thoroughly modernized to enhance both performance and comfort, all while packing the latest technologies. And with a whopping 9 grades to choose from, it has
Wow,
one
wait a
of the
minute. I want
most
to pause.
lineups
I want
in
to pause
Toyota
that just a
family,
second.
Meaning
Let's go back to that just real quick. So 9, did that say 9?
technologies.
Yeah, 9
With a
trims.
whopping 9
All right. So with Land Cruiser, you get, what is it, 3 trims. You get the kind of first edition,
Yeah.
you get the 1958, and then you get the Land Cruiser. This is ridiculous. How many I'm lost at this, man.
Not just TRD off-road, but TRD off-road
yes.
premium.
Yes. So how many versions of this damn thing do you need? Because the people that buy this, you know, there's a lot of people that want the SR5. They want the, hey, I want to build my own. You know, I want the Toyota reliability. I want, you know, the quality that Toyota brings, but I want to build my own. So definitely, I think TRD Sport, SR5, somewhere in there, maybe the TRD Sport Premium, but you've got a limited, which is used to be kind of their higher end trims. Now you got the Platinum. It's a wonder they don't bring out the capstone version of this thing.
God.
I mean, there's a gap down there. We have plenty of room to put capstone down there.
Future, that'd round it out to 10.
Right. Come on, man. Let's just go ahead and do this for Toyota. Out of all these guys, I'm curious where you're at. Which from what little we know so far, which is where you're at. So we'll go ahead and continue to play this video, and we'll go back to that. Maybe
9 grades to choose from, it has one of the most diverse lineups in the Toyota family, meaning there's truly something for everyone. Forerunner's performance comes courtesy of the amazing torque output of the new turbocharged engines found across its lineup. The standard iForce gas engine makes a healthy 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque, while the available iForce Max hybrid electric system cranks out up to 326 horsepower and an incredible 465 pound-feet of torque. All of that power is easily accessed too, thanks to both powertrains making their peak torque at a low 1700 RPM, resulting in an even more responsive drive. As a result, both options give 4Runner plenty of punch for everything from steep trails to highway passes, all while bringing the added benefit of enhanced fuel economy.
It's that hybrid.
Right. Drive.
This impressive blend of power and efficiency is just one way 4Runner delivers a refined on- and off-road experience. Its high-strength chassis, standard double wishbone front, and multi-link rear coil suspension balances smoothness and stability, as well as enhance its on-road driving agility in the case of the TRD-tuned shocks found on TRD Sport grades. Taking this story a step further is the available adaptive variable suspension offered on limited and platinum grades. By adjusting the damping force based on road conditions, this system gives 4Runner a stable, premium ride, especially when combined with the available full-time 4-wheel drive system.
I mean, definitely for a family of 4.
So there's your key there, available on the premium upgrades.
When the pavement ends, 4Runner's capability is just getting started. In addition to standard part-time 4-wheel drive, an electronically controlled locking rear differential, and all-terrain tires, 4Runner's off-road grades feature standard Bilstein shocks on the TRD off-road grade, along with advanced tech like the available multi-terrain
select, God, they didn't
available
have
crawl control, and the available stabilizer disconnect mechanism.
I know,
all
but
of which
still,
help this rugged
they got rid of
SUV
that.
get through tough terrain. Taking this a step further, the all-new
like that
Trail
green
Hunter
color.
grade comes complete with a lifted suspension with Old Man Emu shocks, making it the perfect vehicle for overlanding, off-roading where the journey is the focal point. Meanwhile, TRD Pro doubles down on thrilling adventures in the dirt with its Baja-inspired performance.
Can you imagine having
featuring
a
unique specs like a lifted suspension with adjustable
Because it
front
already
shock
looks like
absorbers,
it's a little
this
bit top
off-road
heavy
monster
coming around
comes
some of those
alive the
corners.
harder it's pushed. A clear sign that this SUV is truly ready to tackle nearly anything and go nearly anywhere.
You're like the test driver, they're like, hey, go show it. Hey, pull the bumper.
They're always
All of
prototypes.
this performance is backed by an exterior design that highlights 4Runner's ability to go nearly anywhere. Up front, a new high-clearance front bumper makes it easier to clear obstacles while driving off-road. And around back, an available hands-free power liftgate enhances practicality, complementing 4Runner's signature and standard power rear window. Meanwhile, each
That
one
actually
stands
sold
out
me.
with
Well, look at
distinct
this. Let me go
exterior
back.
details.
Let's go back here real quick.
That actually sold me
Signature
on
and
a
standard.
Sequoia
Yes.
back in the day.
Look, see the up down button there?
Oh, yep.
That's pretty interesting. I was curious why this looks kind of like it's got whole porous. This side doesn't, but then you see right there's definitely an up down button on that, which is that's pretty interesting.
Standard power rear window. Meanwhile, each grade stands out with distinct exterior details, like a roof rack and high mount air intake, highlighting Trail Hunter's adventurous nature.
I think it's done better than some of the other
heritage-inspired
manufacturers
grille with an
I've seen.
integrated light bar on Trail Hunter and TRD Pro, black painted over fenders on
Ford, I'm
TRD
looking at
Pro,
you.
or details like 20-inch wheels and available power running boards on
Oh,
premium.
that'll
pretty-
be
that's
interesting
pretty
from
nice. Yeah.
factory.
That's pretty nice.
4Runner's bold exterior is complemented by a
Yeah, I don't
functional
like the- I don't like
eye-catching
this.
There's
interior.
big.
This refined cabin is
The big
built around practical convenience, standout style, and next-generation comfort that starts with comfortable fabric-trimmed seats on SR5, TRD Sport, and TRD Off-Road. Limited and Platinum elevate this feel with
Ventilated.
heated and ventilated
ventilated.
power-adjustable front
Yes,
seats,
and
a
thing.
heated steering wheel, digital rear-view mirror, and the Platinum grade standard heated outboard
Those are hard
rear
to
seats.
adjust to, though.
The
So one thing
performance
I've
grades
seen this in pictures. I want to
digital
go back to
rear-view
this
mirror,
and I'll pause
and the
this.
Platinum
One thing
grade
that
standard
nobody
heated
else in the
outboard
mid-size
rear
segment
seats.
seemed to do.
The performance grade.
Sorry, y'all. I'm awful.
I don't know what
Rear
you're
view
doing.
and the
Right there.
Oh,
What do you
look.
What do you see? What do you see there? That
I see AC in the back seat.
that is right. Toyota listened. They listened to everybody bitching about this in the Broncos. Wrangler does have this.
The Tacoma doesn't, right?
I don't.
Somebody mentioned it today that the Tacoma doesn't have
Maybe not.
AC heat in the back.
I don't remember that on that one, but Chevy and them, no ventilated back there, if I remember right. Like Toyota definitely listened right there. And as somebody, obviously the kids generally sit in the back. You might have grandma, grandpa, whoever adults sit in the back there. Maybe you're going to do an off-road party. I don't know. But those people back there, they're sweating, they've had too much to drink. They're like, hey man, could you roll the windows down? You're like, no.
As passengers.
Watch this. And you just give them that nice cool air.
And Peugeot, I bet there's cup holders
Platinum
in
grade
the
standard heated
armrest.
outboard rear.
Oh, it's
The
probably
performance grades include noteworthy.
I hate this right here. I hate
I
this.
know
on
it's one of your least favorite things ever.
well, so we saw this on the Trail Hunter of the Tacoma, and I kind of like the 3D look of it. Except I always think somebody's gonna put their head through this in a crash. And
I like the idea of it,
Mm.
but it's just done too tall.
I would
think.
like it to be not
Or
sticking out.
embossed.
Embossed in there. But this looks like some old countertop to me. The way it's that weird, it
Now you're
doesn't
just being nitpicky.
No, but it doesn't match anything else in the truck, and I don't like the color they use for the stitching. But that's just these are my personal
See,
things.
I like
Details inside too.
Cool
Like Trail
badging.
Hunter's rugged
But I don't-
interior theme.
Remember these seats were kind of a light green in the truck, and video doesn't always do that justice. It's kind of that light greenish gray. I feel like it was very dated
With
already.
unique soft text trimmed
But
seats,
the
or
seats are
TRD
nice.
Pro's sporty red.
I
Okay,
do
so
like that
seats with
camo.
technical
They're bringing in
camo
because that
camo.
was in that
And
Solar
for added
Octane.
versatility, all
Sorry,
4Runners
we drove.
include second row seats that fold and tumble forward for more cargo space.
Oh, that's
while
nice.
Select
Cool.
grades can be equipped with an available third row.
Oh,
So
third row for me.
why?
You know,
No, you do not. In this
always third row for me.
in this size of vehicle, you do not want a third row.
When we are trucking the kids around and I get quote unquote stuck being the mom that takes everybody home from practice.
I'm here though. I'm working.
I know it's not you. It's me.
Right, but it looks like a nice shelf up here. So
Yeah.
I bet there's cup holders right there for that third row. Here's a little shelving, speaker sub or something right back there. So that's kind of interesting.
Allowing more friends to tag along.
Looks like
See,
there's power
more
out.
friends
Runner's
to tag along.
practicality goes beyond comfortably carrying people and gear.
I'm curious
The
how that
iForce
works.
Max grades allow you to
Look
stay
at those
charged.
USB-C.
C's they've converted now. I'm happy that we're finally just going to C. I don't
Yes.
need both of them just because we were on a trip this weekend and it was a pain in the butt because
It was.
one kid had the old school, one had the new school,
And I didn't have all the
Yeah.
all the cords with us.
Stuff during epic road trips thanks to an available 2400 watt AC inverter. Similarly, an available pre-wired auxiliary DC panel allows
nice.
4Runner to power even
Yeah, the
more
trucks have that.
electronic accessories, further highlighting its
All right, so the interior of this thing, that's the truck. There is nothing different about that at all. That is the truck. So if you've got to sit in the truck, I like it. Once again, this is that kind of marble-ish piece I was talking about. It doesn't seem to go anywhere else in the truck, but their steering wheel is nice. Remember, it's just a nice thick steering wheel. I love their center stack. I think it's one of the best. The crispness of the fonts and stuff they use. I am curious about their app because they were charging for some of the
viability.
Okay. I already said it once, but I have to praise them for another time. They don't have the wonky shifter.
Yes.
For those that haven't seen the 4Runner in the past, it has a crazy move 16. I'm sure you all have, but I know we've got some Ford folks in here too. So it had that crazy maze of a shifter. I'm so excited that it's normal again.
Yeah. And it's one of the, I will say, I like the shifter probably better than our Bronco right now. It just, I don't know. Seems more substantial.
Well, and I appreciate that there's actually a button there as well to control the volume of your radio. We talked about that in the past.
Yes. For adventure.
4Runner's blend of performance, versatility, and design is backed by intuitive technologies that help fuel epic trips out to far
that looks great. They're all the red aggressive
front and center sits the Toyota Audio Multimedia System, which comes with either a standard 8-inch or available 14-inch touchscreen, wireless compatibility for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto,
I'd be interested
as well as
to know if
5
this works
USB-C
better.
ports, 3 in the front and 2 in the rear. And
This
to
CarPlay can be a
maximize
little-
the music experience from this high-tech platform,
We get the
4Runner can
removable
be equipped
speaker?
with a 14-speaker JBL premium audio system. This system
There it
includes
is.
an
There it is.
innovative JBL Flex Bluetooth
So,
speaker, which
such a
can be
cool thing, but
detached
also
to allow your
something
tunes
that
to stay
probably in a year or two when the
whether out
battery
on a
wears
solo
out,
hike
it's like,
or
that
paired
damn
with
thing
other
doesn't work
JBL
when I
Flex
pull it out.
speakers for a truly unique listening experience
Add more
camping
speakers.
in the
That's
wilderness.
See?
4Runner
Just
raises
buy
the
triplets.
tech bar even higher when it comes to convenience features. For instance,
I
an
like their
available
gauges, or their
12.3-inch
switches.
digital gauge cluster and an available head-up display puts key information right in the driver's line of sight, reducing the need to take your eyes off the road. Meanwhile, the available 3D multi-terrain monitor
This
helps show
is
what's
one
around
of
the
my
vehicle when
favorite
off-road.
So when you were-
features of
when-
the TRD Pro.
Yes, when you were driving the trucks and stuff,
Yes.
you liked using all the cameras,
eyes
right?
off the road.
Yes, I loved
Meanwhile-
using all the cameras because I could see what was below me, especially when I was going up. And then when I was going down, worrying about, was I getting into something that I shouldn't, even though that's where that control issue piece kind of comes in.
Yeah.
But yes, I loved the cameras on this.
Yes. Guys, if you'd smash that like button for us, by the way, I would greatly appreciate that.
While the available 3D multi-terrain monitor helps show what's around the vehicle when off-roading. Plus, the available tow technology
they're showing
package
off-road
makes it
towing.
simple to make
Definitely
use of
camper.
4Runner's 6,000-pound max towing capacity.
So 6,000, not too bad, really. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about
For off-road capabilities too.
yeah, so I think especially the hybrid, I think it's 5,000 to 6,000. So probably the hybrid is going to have the higher towing capacity. Maybe not because of the battery pack. I'm not sure on that, but definitely Toyota is so smart with this crowd. You know, for years, like we were talking in our previous show that we were talking about, I need to get out to Overland West. Like, and remember FJ Summit and all that. Toyota never officially sponsored any of these things. They would show up.
Yeah.
Like, especially FJ Summit, they started not supporting, but supporting a little bit, but never really super official. But they just sat there and watched what the people were doing with their vehicles, and just was like, all right, just take notes,
Yep.
take notes. And they seem to be better. Like for the Ford Bronco, which we love, we have one, we love it. Ford looked at the homework that Jeep was doing. But I think Toyota's kind of been like, okay, we're not ever going to do a removable top again. We're not doing the doors coming off. How can we make, because they're kind of in the same segment. How can we make a better vehicle than what they're doing? And definitely seems like they're going to push the boundaries.
And when it comes to active,
Oh, and I do know how to
safety,
drive,
every
but I like
grade
the
comes
cameras
standard
for
with
extra.
Toyota Safety Sense 3
Yeah, I don't like
which
the
includes
cameras.
pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, lane departure alert with steering assist, automatic high beams, full speed range dynamic radar cruise control, lane tracing assist, road sign assist, and proactive driving assist.
I do have to
What's
say, the
more,
road sign
every
assist, that's kind of fun.
Grade also comes standard with blind spot monitor with rear cross traffic alert, providing enhanced peace of mind on every drive.
All All right, let's pause right there. This is the TRD Pro once again. You can see the red outlines here of the Toyota red stitching. If I have to choose, I'm definitely I want the TRD Pro. Now,
100%.
once again, it's the most expensive, but I like the aggressive look of this thing, and I think the interior of it. I've been a big fan. Remember our first drive of the Tundra? We were one of the first to get to drive the Tundra back in whenever that was, 21, something like that, right when it was coming out. I like the interior of that truck then, so definitely a smaller version of it. And we've looked at the truck and
it's the SUV part of it too. So that's definitely nice to have that for your everyday.
Yes. And maybe the internets will play again, as it were. Where are you guys at in the comments while we're waiting for this thing to load back up? Where are you guys at with this thing so far? I seriously, the comments that I got more than anything was people upset about the engine. If it doesn't have a V6, I'm not buying it.
That's been some of it in there too. The Trail Hunter with let's see, a big fail, I think is what was said right there. 4Runner forever.
There it is. I mean, you only have to look at what they have, unfortunately. I agree. I wish they would put a V6 in this thing. Hell, I wish they would put the V8 that they dropped in one time. I think that would be fun. But the problem is they have to deal with federal regulations. And unfortunately, California pushes more of this stuff than anybody. So they're having to play like 16 different states, it seems like, for what, because California has, I think it's like 14 other states follow in whatever California does.
Yeah, I can't remember
all tied
the numbers,
together.
but yeah.
So you're playing with this, and in California, I think it has to be hybrid. In like 2 or 3 years, I think they have to be hybrid vehicles. They will not sell just a normal gas powered vehicle. If I remember right, I haven't read on this in a while. So they're playing that game. But clearly, I think the way they've done it, our Bronco is a 2.7 twin turbo. It's fun. Is it the most exciting thing if you stomp it? No, it's not the most exciting thing. It's better than previous vehicles we've owned as far as power. But I think Toyota's done a really good job with the Tundra on down. So they did the iForce Max with the 3.5 and the Tundra twin turbo. You stomp on it, it feels like a V8. You remember the couple we've drove. They get up and go. And with the truck, they've made that a smaller system. I feel like it lets it wants to get up and go. And I think it makes sense to put it in this. Unfortunately, I know I'm that old school guy. I want the most horsepower, the biggest engine. I would love to have a cammed out, pickup truck, but sadly those days are gone and I can't help bring them back.
Imagine having "yo" stamped in your forehead, the old 4Runner forehead.
Right.
It's true. Honestly, the first time we saw that in a Toyota, that's the very first thing he said is, airbag coming out, gonna have Toyota stamped on the forehead. So that's a big.
It's that one kid that's been back and forth from the front seats to the back seat. You're like, Junior, put your damn seatbelt on and get back there. Suddenly you got to slam on your brakes because you're meddling with the kid, and then the kid's head's in there, and it's.
And then you go to the emergency room with that "yo" on your forehead.
You're like, did your parent
have to explain
what did they hit you with? What did they hit you with? Let's finish this video up here.
The 2025 Toyota 4Runner's remarkable balance of on-road refinement and off-road ability embodies excitement and adventure for a whole new generation. It's both a massively capable off-road SUV with adventure seekers in mind and a high-tech daily driver that fuels epic road trips to discover everything the world has to offer. Plus, 4Runner's iForce Max hybrid EV grades reduce carbon emissions to help support Beyond Zero, Toyota's vision for a carbon-neutral future, and more. With all of these factors considered, it's clear that 4Runner is poised to redefine the rugged SUV once again.
Yeah.
So there is our first look at this thing. Obviously, there's a few things that stand out to me. Kelly, is there anything that sort of stood out to you about this thing that because you were excited about a potential of a third row. That I have zero interest in that.
I know.
I would the TRD Pro all day long. Which one? I mean, is that where you?
Which means I wouldn't get my third row because it's only in the SR5.
Darn
I think the Platinum is what I said. So
darn it.
Yeah, if we were to have one, if we would take the jump, because we're at that age now where we talked about we would rather have it ready and capable off the showroom floor. Yeah, it would be TRD Pro for me all day long.
Biggest thing too is, and I'll bring this back up. If you look at the wheel wells of this thing, these are 33-inch tires on this now, which is nice. I think 32s previously were the largest tire, and we all want to put bigger tires on these vehicles. 35s, everybody wants to run 35. 35s are like what 33s used to be. When I was growing
100%.
up, if you had 33s on your pickup truck, you were like a monster truck. Now that's like you're not even starting. Like our Bronco has 35s. I'm itching to get 37s under it at some point. I don't know. It's just human nature, but it looks like from the wheel well, especially on the Pro version, it's definitely wouldn't take much to put 35s under it. And I know our buddy TRD John, who was at this event, he's already put 35s under his Tacoma, and it was done fairly easily.
Yeah.
So I definitely could see 35s under this. Something from the TRD Pro that I have zero interest is their rock rails. I'm not big on factory rock rails. They're generally I think Toyota's the only one that actually does them to the frame, but a lot of cases they're done to the body.
Mm-hmm.
They still will withhold some stuff, but there's a few things I think aftermarket does well. As far as the upper control arms that TRD does, I think they're great. So other than maybe you want to do a lift, I will say the Bilsteins that they put under this look very similar to what Ford's been doing with the Bronco. I would guarantee it's probably the same damn system. And one thing,
Toyota on there.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't hear from this video was the sway bar disconnect.
Yes.
And I'll dig into this but I guarantee you the TRD Pro has sway bar disconnect on it, because that was a big selling feature for the TRD Sport or the TRD Off-Road. I'm sorry, that you could get that, and the take rate was very high. So Toyota's not been able to ship many of those, but I guarantee you this thing has the sway disconnect, which getting to use in our Bronco, the Jeep, it was a nightmare, because Jeep, if you're not on the flat surface, push it before you engage anything, before you know it, it re-engages. It's just a bad system. The Bronco version, which I know for a fact, it's the same steering rack, or I was told this, I'll say that it's the same steering rack from the Ford Bronco that's in this. So buyer beware on that a little bit. But I think that's because they're using the same sway bar disconnect. And that's interesting to me, because when you got to test that with the Bronco, you love that feature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it actually sold us to upgrade our trim level on it, because it just gives you that extra control over your vehicle.
Yeah, well, it is nice. You get a little teetery. It's nice to be able to kind of do that. And
still nothing on their news coverage.
Their media site is really it's awful. So we're not going to worry about that. Let's see. There was a couple other things. I want to bring up these pictures back up, because sometimes real world pictures just a little better justice to this. So here is the mud. What was it called again? I believe it was.
You asked me, and I had it for a second.
Yeah. So I love that color.
I know you do.
You don't like very flashy colors. Not that this is a flashy color, but no on that one.
No. It's just you like this khaki-ish muddy color, and I've never seen a vehicle that I fell in love with it on.
Yeah.
Just down.
Interesting enough, I know ARB has done some stuff, and I don't see there was nothing about any ARB really products on it. It did say that the Trail Hunter comes with a factory roof rack.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that is by ARB, but past that, I know there was some stuff in the press release of this that was snuck out that talked about this, and I guess I should bring it up.
Mud bath.
Yeah, mud bath. Thank you. But I like that with the black accents and stuff. I think that looks great.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say from the pros that we saw in the pickup truck, this gloss, that's just going to show every every branch that you go into. It's going to show every scratch, it seems like.
100%. And it's going to show every single rock chip that comes up along that tire line.
Yeah.
We saw it on the truck at the Chicago Auto Show.
Oh, the one we had at the auto show, the truck, was just beat the piss. I was amazed and I know what it is. They were having a hard time. They only had a handful. Yeah. They're trying to get these out to shows, but it was definitely one of their prototypes they've been driving around. Do you think we'll see that Terra color on this?
I mean, they did a lot of marketing on it. So yeah. I would be surprised if they didn't continue the Terra on this.
I'm not a fan of that color. At first, we liked it. We did with the pickup truck. We did the launch of that with that truck. I kind of liked it then, but I've grown since. I think it was the display that Toyota had at the Chicago Auto Show.
Well, because Toyota had that orange ground and it didn't do it justice.
No, not at all. And I seen at the New York Auto Show. We were not at the New York one, but they had a white version, and I think it made it look a little bit better. But I think the profile of this thing looks great. Once again, I think you can get sneak 35s in there fairly easy. I thought I saw. Let's see. I thought I saw somebody comment about that.
About
but
what?
About the tires. I think they were talking about the tires a little bit. I think definitely probably a puck lift of some sort, and you're definitely in 35-inch territory, which is still better than the previous version. Previous version, you had to do a lot of massaging to make that work. Interesting part of the departure angle. Let's see the spare tire down there. That's part of your departure angle issues, I would say. I'm surprised they didn't try to. I mean, I guess because the tailgate goes straight up is why, and that's pretty traditional for them. But you would think at some point under the vehicle is for an off-road vehicle. I don't know. It just seems like a miss from my point of view.
Yeah, I would agree. But I don't know how you solve that.
No, it's yeah. How do you
when
do
it's
that?
Standard on all the other trims? I don't know how you solve that issue.
Yeah, it's like for the Nissan Xterra when they developed that, the bump that you see in the back of the Xterras, it was because they were going to put a tire back there, and that's why that bump kick out was for. And that there was something because my brother-in-law worked for Nissan, was heavily involved in that vehicle, and they couldn't get something to work in production, something about that. So they just like, we'll just knock that off. But it is capable, especially it's a power lift gate. You could make that capable.
Which is why you saw aftermarket where people were moving their spares because they were hitting the spares on trails.
I want to see if I can find maybe a better rear here. Let's look at this. So definitely they thought of where you can throw a steel bumper or a aluminum bumper back there of some sort. But still, as far as like, a lot of these guys like to cut the plastics and make something work there. The way they've got this angle here, it seems like that's going to be tough. Now, guys like CBI and some of these companies that do this for a living, they'll come up with something, but interesting, and no real tow hooks. I know there are some in there because I've seen something sticking out of one of these.
Before you go away from this, I will say though, I appreciate that they do have brake lines where they're not brake like stop your vehicle brake lines, but like brake lines between the bumper and the next bumper, because
personality.
Because a lot of manufacturers now are trying to make everything look smooth and everything, and then that's really hindering those aftermarket products from coming out too, because like you said, they are looking for those spots where they don't have to do major modifications to the vehicle.
4Runner and back, I do like the blacked out version of that, but I do not like the chrome. Like it's in line. We see it with Sequoia. We see it with everything else. It's in line with their, but I don't know, man. I see people taking that off real quick. Maybe buying an older school somehow they can put, the old school Toyota badge on the side or something.
Yeah, we probably should move away from the back end on this, because the more I look at it, the less I like it.
So baby does not have back, is what you're saying.
Baby does not have back.
Here is the truck with the in that I can't tell if that's Terra or not. It's hard to tell. They highlight these photos, over saturate them sometimes. It's hard to tell. Next to it looks like the TRD Pro next to the Trail Hunter looks pretty freaking great. I mean, that's a nice pair to look at. I do wish still that the 4Runner had a little bit different grill. I like the truck size grill. Once again, I would be bitching about it if it just looked like the exact thing. We would fuss about that, but
nothing makes you happy.
Well, it's the world we live in. But I would like to see a little bit more personality to the front end, separating it just slightly from the truck.
Yeah, I would agree. Definitely appreciate that there are some differences, but would have liked to seen a little more uniqueness to it.
Yeah. Overall, I think Toyota's got a home run. Price dependent. Price dependent. The biggest thing, and I mentioned earlier, is the waters are muddy between this now and Land Cruiser.
Yeah,
I don't understand. From what I've seen now, 9 different models.
Yes.
Like, and you're talking in many cases, you can go to Toyota's own website. In many cases with the truck, it's only a couple $1,000s difference.
Yep.
So, and then you got to work with a dealer who Toyota, you don't get to order what you want. It depends on what the dealership allocation is. So that's a nightmare. We've had friends get screwed over. They wanted what is it? The GT86 or whatever they call it now.
GR86.
Yeah. And wanted that. Remember Aaron wanted one, ordered what he thought, and then something different came in. The dealership didn't give a shit because they knew they were going to sell it anyways.
Yep.
And in many cases, Toyota dealerships are probably the worst in the industry about effing their customers over. And that's not against Toyota. Unfortunately, I know everybody will go, well, Toyota needs to get that in line. What you don't understand is manufacturers sell these vehicles to the dealerships,
and the dealers own them at that point.
And the dealers do as they're allowed to. Well, if they bought that vehicle, they're allowed to do what they want. And sometimes they can combat, hey, you're not going to get allocations, but they're going to want these things out there. So you're talking, if it's a $55,000 to $65,000 for the upper trims, tack another $10,000 on top of that. That's out of we're economy's kind of not great right now as is. What a strange time to come out with an expensive vehicle.
Yeah. They're all trying to compete though. They're all trying to get a little piece of that puzzle or piece of that pie.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. We got a couple more minutes here. I'm curious, did you see any comments in here that we should talk about? If you have anything, quickly throw it up there, and me and Kelly will probably get to drive this vehicle this fall. Generally, one of the press events we go to in Texas, generally it times out just right to get to drive this. So I would like to, if Toyota has this and the Land Cruiser, stack them next to each other. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, we definitely see a mixed bag in the comment section. Some folks are happy about it, excited to see. Some folks are saying this is what we waited for. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see the take rate on these.
Yeah.
To see who's an early adopter of it and who's going to hold out, to see what other modifications may be in another 15 years.
Yeah. Let's see. You're spoiled with the U.S. makes and their special orders. No, 100%.
100%.
But the problem is
that's kind of the standard.
Yeah, it's almost the standard. We're in this Amazon culture now where if I want, I get to order what I want. And I've said it on many other times. I think every manufacturer, if they would have a checkbox where you could check what you wanted, I guarantee you would spend more than you would normally but you would get the exact vehicle you want. And a happy customer is a repeat customer,
Yep.
And it's not, I've worked in the industry. I work for Nissan manufacturing. It's not overly complicated to do that now. I can guarantee you that. It's pretty simple to build these. The software we used to use to pull parts and stuff, it would work easily.
Absolutely.
Air vents in the back stands out to me. I think that's a good thing. The engine options, there was nothing really crazy there. So I think we'll know more in the next couple of days, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm impressed with it, but just don't show me the back end again, because it's too much like the old. It's too much like the old model for me.
I don't know.
It's the lights. It's the tail lights.
Yep. Well, so guys, I appreciate you guys jumping in here, all 500 plus of you that were in here at one time. If you guys would smash that like button for me. If you haven't yet, we cover the industry as a whole. We specialize in off-road stuff. We like to talk off-road stuff. So if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it. I'm sorry it took a minute to get Toyota's stuff rolling, but
and we appreciate the tips of finding it this evening too.
Yeah. So whether it be 2-wheel drive,
4-wheel drive,
does not matter what you drive as long as you're having fun doing it here. And if you're going to buy one, let us know in the comments below. If you're watching this after the fact, let us know what you're into, and we'll try to cover that. So we're out, everybody. Peace.
See ya.